Hey, 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 happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, GamingGang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. This is live stream 1187. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And normally I will share a topic related to our hobby, which is what we'll be discussing tonight. In fact, I will be talking about the fallacy, which is the woke mob destroying people's favorite role-playing games. I'm going to touch into that a little bit later. Of course, that'll be after we tackle the tabletop gaming news. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit GamingGang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Of course, we do have a Patreon if you'd like to support the Gaming Gang. That link is down in our show notes, as is the Discord server invite if you would like to hang with the gang. Also, should point out, because this is a live show, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 10 whole minutes before you can take part in chat. Yet another way I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. So let's see. First out the gate tonight is Semper Buffo. Sean O'Donnell's with us, as is Keith Thulu, Tony Urquides, the Madman, good friend of the show and chat moderator. Robert Santon, my good friend from high school. Scott Weigel is also hanging with us tonight, as is W. Forge. And I'll take a guess, the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D. might be lurking in the shadows. Yet another of our chat moderators. So welcome aboard, everybody. I do want to point out, I am breaking in some new contacts I got. And I'll be very honest, I'm not digging them. My far vision is awful. It is awful. And the funny thing is, it's supposed to be the same exact prescription as the contacts I was just wearing before, which were fine. It's a different manufacturer, and I went through 1-800-contacts. And I took a look. Everything matches up on the packaging, so I don't know. I don't know. So if I misread any of your comments in chat, I do apologize. Stray Kismet and Wallona's Cave are with us tonight also. Very cool. Very cool. All right, let's jump on into the news, because currently up for crowdfunding for Flying Pig Games is Relic Wars. And here is the scoop from my friend Mark H. Walker. Will you claim the chalices for wealth, power, glory, or something far more sinister? In Relic Wars, 2 to 4 players become ruthless warriors, each with unique abilities and hidden motives, locked in a brutal battle for 3 golden chalices. The path to victory is yours to forge. Crush your enemies in ruthless combat, or seize the relics and outlast the chaos. Explore a dynamic, ever-changing battlefield filled with treacherous terrain, powerful relics, and deadly encounters. Uncover arcane artifacts, master devastating spells, and upgrade your warrior as you fight to survive. 2 paths, 1 victor. Will you claim the chalices or be forgotten in the ashes of war? And of course, there is a Kickstarter video, so let's take a peek.
Mortal fools, you are not worthy. It is not mindless worship we crave, nor blind devotion. Only one thing we require. Bring us relics.
Introducing Relic Wars, a fast-paced skirmish, battler, and exploration game. Choose your hero, explore the ever-changing kingdom. Seek the 3 lost chalices or steal them from those too weak to hold them. Battle your rivals to hinder their progress and use the terrain to your advantage. Adapt, gain upgrades, and grow stronger. Master a wide array of spells, casting them at the perfect moment to unleash devastating combos. Whether in battle or by reshaping the very terrain around you. Beware, for the gods are watching closely and may intervene if they see fit. Once the final chalice is claimed, the final trial begins. Prove yourself and survive one final round to show your ultimate worthiness.
And yet you still believe this is victory. Fool.
Relic Wars is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 30 to 90 minutes. And you can reserve a copy of the game for a $70 pledge through June 5th. So there you have it. It's been a long time since I shared news or reviews or first looks for Flying Pig Games or Tiny Battle Publishing. So this is something that's new. It's kind of a fantasy game, so might be kind of interesting. I will say that they've got a lot of people involved with coverage of this. Sadly, a lot of those usual suspects that we all know about. Yeah, but still, yeah, is what it is. All right, moving right along. The latest in the Outgunned line has landed in stores from Two Little Mice and Free League Publishing. And here's the skinny on Outgunned Adventure. Outgunned Adventure is a cinematic pulp adventure RPG inspired by the classics of the genre, from the immortal Indiana Jones to 1999's The Mummy. Outgunned Adventure is the first genre book in the Outgunned line. And you can play it either standalone or as an expansion to Outgunned. In Outgunned Adventure, players take on the role of brave adventurers in search of an invaluable treasure. Outgunned Adventures features a game system which is known as Director's Cut, a set of mechanics using small pools of 6-sided dice to determine the outcome of the adventurer's actions. When rolling dice, your goal is not to score the highest or lowest possible number, but to roll 2, 3, and 4 of a kind. The 260-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $49.99. You can grab just the PDF alone right now over at Drive-Thru RPG for $19. And you may recall we did a first look video taking a peek at Outgunned and Outgunned World of Killers. Yes. Stay tuned. I will have reviews of those in the very near future. I have reached out to Free League Publishing to see if we can take a peek at Outgunned Adventure as well. And I do believe that there is a superhero genre book, which is going to be coming to, I think it's going to come to Kickstarter in a not too distant future. So very nice. Very cool. So Sarah D is with us. Said they just got back from an emergency union meeting, as it looks like Sarah and her union are doing battle with the feds. Pete Strakulich is joining us, and Kathy Evans has just popped on into chat. Welcome to you. Moon right along. Bundle of Holding and Catalyst Game Labs have teamed for a Shadowrun 6th World offer, and I've got the deets on the deal. Holy chumma! The May 2022, did I say 2022? The May 2022 Shadowrun 6th World Essentials, your starting jack point for PDFs of Shadowrun 6th World, the current, you guessed it, 6th edition of the tabletop cyberpunk fantasy role-playing game from Catalyst Games Lab. I'm sorry, Game Labs. I always mix that up. Celebrating Shadowrun's 30th anniversary, the 2019 6th World Edition is easier to learn and play than ever, yet still offers the depth that is key to the Shadowrun experience. Design exactly the character you want. Fast gameplay and conflict resolution keeps the game moving. The rules are built around gaining advantage and taking risks, building to spectacular moments. If you're new to 6th World, you'll want to start here to get the digital files of everything you need. Rules, weapons, magic, equipment, vehicles, and more to start exploring the awakened world of 2080. For just $17.95, you'll get the 3 titles in the starter collection, which has a retail value of $65, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Shadowrun Core Rulebook City Edition Berlin, plus the wide-ranging setting guides No Future and the Neo-Anarchist Streetpedia. And if you pay more than the current threshold price of $40.27, you'll level up and also get this Revival's entire bonus collection with 5 more titles worth an additional $79, including the Combat Rulebook Firing Squad, the Magic Supplement Street Weird, the Rigor Book Double Clutch, Crime Catalog, and a phone PDF with handy weapons reference charts, Gun Rack. These savings will run through June 2nd. And we do have a little bit of a theme with our news tonight. Well, at least 2 of the news pieces are similar genres, I must say. But if you have been curious about Shadowrun 6th World, and I will be the first to point out, it's pretty hit or miss, I think, with a lot of people out there, especially fans of Shadowrun from previous editions. But if you've been curious, you can jump on board, check it out for a pretty small price. So there you got it. All right, let's see. Jack Hanks is popping on in. So WForge asks, if PDR... see, I told you. Breaking in these new contacts and not having an easy time making out chat here. Start saying PDFs and DRM in one blah, blah. WForge asks, if PDFs are DRM free, can they be shared with players? Well, the reality is that if they had DRM, you could still share them with other players. Usually what they mean by that is it's got the watermarks on it. There's some other things electronically in that file to point people in your direction if they get out there into the wild. So when they say they're DRM free, I got to be honest, I think technically, like if you bought a PDF on Drive-Thru RPG, which is where these usually end up from Bundle of Holding, that are added to your Drive-Thru RPG account, I think those are considered DRM free too. So I don't know. Got to be honest, but I would think, yeah, I mean, If you can share a PDF with somebody, you can share a PDF with them. Shadow Donald says they love all the Shadowrun computer role-playing games. Fun game and setting. Sweet. Mike and Jose Fernandez are popping on into chat. Let's see. Oh, Mike says, Outgunned and Shadowrun. Lots of great fun. Tessie Trekky's talking about the woke mob, but we're not getting into that yet. We're in the news. So, said the woke mob destroyed their game by insisting that the game that I don't play cults different types of creatures, ancestries, instead of races in their core book. This game I don't even play or own. Okay, there we go. We could have waited till we got into the topic. That is kind of part of what I'm going to talk about tonight, too. So there is that. Roger Perdome and Melodic Method are popping on by, as is Cassiopeia Nebula is with us. Seems like we got a pretty good chat rocking and rolling right now. On to our next news piece. Currently funding on Kickstarter for Modiphius Entertainment is the Heroes of Might and Magic tabletop role-playing game. Here's the latest. Heroes of Might and Magic TTRPG is the first official tabletop role-playing game based on Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the restoration of Eurathia. Modiphius Entertainment has the official license from Ubisoft and is working with Poland's LM Publishing RPG studio to develop and publish this game together. It's a high fantasy game, meaning it takes place in a magical world filled with extraordinary creatures and spellbinding wonders. Both the events and challenges the heroes face are epic in scale, offering grand adventures and unforgettable tales. That being said, let's be honest, this world comes with a knowing wink and a smirk, especially when more than one scene can be kicked off with a gnoll, an ogress, and a necromancer stepping into a tavern. The continent of Antagarish is engulfed in a great conflict. Its history is shaped by extraordinary individuals who, by choice, birth, or fate, achieve epic deeds. Battles are waged across a wide array of landscapes, from the deadly swamps of Tatalia through the rocky wastelands of Krulad and the lifeless lands of Deja, to the frozen mountain passes of Brakata, and even within the vast tunnels of Nidon that stretch beneath the entire world. Among the generals of these armies, alongside humans, elves, and dwarves, you'll also encounter a wide variety of other beings, such as demons, gnolls, troglodytes, liches, and minotaurs. I didn't think we used the word troglodyte anymore. Okay. These are the heroes of this world, your player characters. The core mechanic of Heroes of Might and Magic TTRPG is fast, flexible, and story-driven. While the game's core mechanics are based on the well-known and widely used 2D20 system, Heroes of Might and Magic tabletop role-playing game elevates it to a more epic level. And of course, we've got a Kickstarter video, so let's take a look.
As the war rages across the continent, no kingdom remains free from the aftershock of titanic battles and political upheavals. It is a time of flame and ambition, a time of might and magic. Create your heroes, gather your troops, and immerse yourself in the world of the iconic computer game like never before. Step back into the legendary land of Enroth and embark on epic adventures in the first tabletop role-playing game based on Heroes of Might and Magic.
The Kickstarter project is over 200% funded. You can reserve a copy of the core game, the hardcover book with PDF, as well as other digital stretch goals for a pledge of approximately $51. Or if you want to just grab the PDF as well as those digital stretch goals, you can do so for a pledge of approximately $34 through June 8th. Expected delivery for the digital items is this December, or at least for the core book in PDF is this December. And the physical book should follow in May 2026. Interesting. I see some folks are mentioning in chat, yeah, they're kind of curious how this would work as a role-playing game. Yes, there is a quick start. It's about, I think, if I remember correctly, I think it's 66 pages in length. So it's a relatively lengthy quick start, but I didn't read through it. I just actually used it for the images you're taking a peek at. So as far as I understand, you are army leaders to begin the game. So you begin your careers in the role-playing game as heroic characters who are leading an army already. That's my understanding. So here's something interesting. I think I've played all of about an hour of Heroes of Might and Magic. That's kind of strange for me to say. Just never got into it. I played Fantasy General. I've played various different editions of Age of Wonders. I just never really got into Heroes of Might and Magic. And I know there are people out there who absolutely love the game system. Although I think the most recent ones have not gone over all that well. New. Agile Monk and 245 Trioxin are with us in chat. So welcome. All right, let's finish up our news tonight because available in PDF from our Talsorian Games is Cyberpunk Red, Interface Red, Volume 4. And I've got the lowdown. All right, Chumba, listen up. We all know you have to keep alive one way or another. Night City never stops being dangerous, but that's why we love it. You need to learn to defend yourself. I think we can get you taken care of, and we can make sure to bring you the right info you may need to get it done in the long run, be it for recreation or devastation. In this fourth volume of Interface Red, you'll find a collection of short articles custom crafted to improve your Cyberpunk Red experience. Our Talsorian Games takes pride in releasing free content every single month. This little book is a collection of hand-picked DLC, as well as a new exclusive supplement, Cyber Fists of Fury, adding a sweat-soaked rainbow of new martial arts styles to your campaign with 23 new styles. Volume 4 of Interface Red adds the following new content to your Cyberpunk Red game. Hornet's Pharmacy, drugs, pharmaceuticals, and associated chemical goodness, courtesy of Hornet, a top Night City fixer. Black Chrome Plus. Molly Anderson is here to distribute bonus items that didn't fit inside Black Chrome. It also includes a helpful discussion on fashion and linear frames. Achievements and loot boxes. The annual April Fool's DLC brings universally loved video game mechanics to Red. Mr. Amaze program can be used as a random party goal and treasure generator. There's Stickball, the sport of the street, played with electrified balls and electromagnetic lacrosse sticks, used to settle beefs between the less violent gangs of Night City. And lots more. This 88-page PDF is available right now over at DriveThru RPG for $10. Always happy to see new Cyberpunk Red goodness come out from our Talsorian Games. tell people all the time, in my opinion, you want to play a cyberpunk role-playing game, it is Cyberpunk Red, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And yes, I know there are other cyberpunk role-playing games out there I have not had an opportunity to take a peek at. They may be great. But, you go with the original, really. All right, let's see. Overkill Joe. I think that's what, oh no. Yeah, Overkill Joe 1 is joining us in chat. Welcome aboard. Who else did we just have pop in? I think I saw someone else joining us. Might be a first timer in chat with us. All right. Like I said, these new contacts, I am not digging it. Not digging it at all. Cassiopeia Nebula said they told their partner about the Might and Magic tabletop role-playing game, and they perked right up. Dwing. Nice. All right, so that was the news for this evening. And of course, I did mention Drive-Thru RPG a couple of times. So don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, I don't know, Drive-Thru RPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, Drive-Thru Fiction, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. Of course, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always support the Gaming Gang over on Patreon. You can find our link located right down in the show notes. You also have the opportunity to make a one-time donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda by way of PayPal if you'd like to do that instead. And of course, if you'd like to hang with the gang, there is an invite to our Discord server also in those show notes. Very cool. Very cool. Relighter Gamer is popping on in. Good to see you once again. Okay. So we're going to get into tonight's topic in just a few moments. Do want to mention tomorrow night's show, I'm not really going to have a topic, but I am going to talk about what appears to be a couple of tabletop gaming companies that I am no longer going to cover. So it's like, all righty, all right. Relighter Gamer likes the shirt. Thank you. I like this shirt too. So why I wear it on occasion here. Wear it on occasion. So anyway, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. So I mean, it's whatever. This is the way I look at it. If you don't want to send review copies, that is well within that company's prerogative. That's fine. It's also my prerogative to not share news about that company. I'm not under any obligation to share news for companies. So there is that. Michael Berry's with us, says they also love the shirt. Maybe I'll start selling the shirt. I'll get copies made, right? Stephen from Roll for Combat is joining us, says, you'll cover me, right? Oh, you're too woke, man. I'm not covering that woke company anymore. Yeah, we're going to get into that topic in just a few moments. But before I do, I was talking about Patreon. I want to make sure to give a shout out to our members at the $10 or higher level of support, because we've got Tessie Trekkie, Dan Webb, Tier 2 DM, Game Cat, Pete Strakulich, and Melodic Method, as well as Big Tip of the Cap to our $25 level supporters, The Madman and Agile Monk. And don't forget, if you are a supporter of the Gaming Gang at $10 or higher, you do get access to members-only channels over on the Discord server. And don't worry, there's plenty of stuff that you don't have to be a patron over on Patreon that you have access to. It's not like, well, you got to be a member of the Patreon to go use the Discord. No, not at all. I will mention, I did share some items which are on sale only through Discord's members-only channels at the moment. One of those items is actually Gloomhaven. It's all still in, well, it's not in shrink, but it's all still unpunched. And I played it at somebody else's house, at Elliot's house, actually. And I was like, I've played the video game version of it. In fact, I remember, I think Elliot gave it to me as a gift. We played it a little bit. I'm like, nah. So there is that. So that is one of the items that I do have for sale. And I can't believe how much it's going for on the secondary market. Because I guess it's going to be a long time before anybody sees that second edition. I know. Do not know. So I did want to let all of you know that. Okay. So tonight I am going to discuss the fallacy of the woke mob destroying your favorite role-playing game. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Baseball Joe was a slugger, you know. He made all the pitchers cry. He was frank to admit the reason he hit was T-O-D-D-Y.
Toddy,
That's the drink for me.
Toddy,
Try it, Pop, and see.
Toddy.
Man, oh man, that's the brand new chocolate malt in a can.
Yes, sirree. Try Toddy and you'll agree. Toddy is as delicious as the finest tasting soda fountain malted you ever had. Ice cold or steaming hot. Ask for Toddy.
Delicious.
On sale now at our snack bar.
Hey, taxi, where can I get a cup of coffee?
Wilkins coffee?
No, just any old kind. Hey, taxi, taxi.
To begin with, trust no one. Don't. And believe half of what you see. Because nothing is as it appears. And nobody is who they seem to be.
You need what?
Now, from the master of action, suspense, and surprises, Charles Bronson in Alistair MacLean's Breakheart Pass. All that lies between Fort Humboldt and the nearest town is 400 miles of frozen desolation, connected by a thin lifeline of steel. And all that lies between the men of Fort Humboldt and death are the people on this train. But are the people on this train on a mission of mercy or murder?
Nobody heard anything, nobody saw anything. Nobody knows anything.
Deacon is right. Dr. Molyneux was murdered.
Looks like somebody knocked him out, stuck a thin surgical probe up under his ribs.
I can't find the Reverend.
Telegraph line to Myrtle no longer works.
Someone is trying to stop this train.
Oh, my God.
We're going backwards.
Now, we're going to all be on this train for a while. We just might find out what happened before we have to get off.
There's a conspiracy on board this train that goes beyond murder. But who is part of it? And who is expendable? The answer waits at Alistair McLean's Breakheart Pass. Trust no one, and believe half of what you see. Because nothing is as it appears, and nobody is who they seem to be.
He told us what he's not, but not what he is.
Just in case you weren't aware, Breakheart Pass is based on an Alistair McLean novel, okay? So I don't know if you were aware of that watching that trailer. How many times they go to bed? It's like, it's Alistair McLean's. Yowza. Okay. So let's see. We got quite a few more people popping into chat. Smoking Pots, Doomed Colonist. Let's see who else. Freddie P, which might be a first-time visit in chat for Freddie P. That nickname's not ringing a bell. Matt Rost is also popping on in. Raven is with us. Good to see you once again. Okay. So tonight's topic is why the woke mob is not destroying your favorite role-playing game. And we're going to kind of ease into this topic. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because on the Discord server, somebody had mentioned in the RPG channel, and they said, I don't know if this has been tackled on the Gaming Gang, but Goodman Games is going to be kickstarting a new edition. Well, it's their original Adventures Reincarnated line for City States of the Invincible Overlord, and showed the reveal video. They linked to it, and they were kind of like, I don't know if Jeff shared this or not. And then they said, I took a deeper look into this, and maybe Jeff's not sharing news of it for a reason, because of the goings on from Judges Guild back in 2020. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. So the first thing I wanted to mention is I never share news about Kickstarters that haven't launched. So as an example, the new edition of the Alien role-playing game that's going to kickstart for Free League Publishing, it's come up in discussion in chat, but I never shared a news piece about it. And the reason why is we never really have any info at the announcement, right? We might have a cover of a book. We might get a little bit of background about it, and that's it. We have no idea what the pledge levels are, don't have any page counts, anything like that. So the reality is I wasn't going to be sharing news about that Kickstarter until it would launch anyway. If I were going to share news about it, it would be in the summer when the Kickstarter launches. So it's important to keep that in mind. So it's not because it's Goodman Games and Judges Guild or anything like that. Now, having said that, I can't tell you if I'm going to share news about this when it launches. And the reason behind that is because if you're not aware of this, the original owner of Judges Guild passed away, I think it was 2008. And his son has pretty much owned Judges Guild since. And if I remember correctly, I think way back in the day, his son used to he did some of the original artwork for various Judges Guild releases. And he was like a 14-year-old kid or something like that, if I remember right. Anyway, so I believe the last name is pronounced Bledsaw, but I could be wrong. But it was Bob Bledsaw Sr. I want to say, I think the other gentleman who was his partner was Bill Owens. They formed Judges Guild. It was their company. And then, of course, after Bob Sr. passed away, Bob Jr. took over. And Bob Jr. made statements in 2020, public statements that were pretty reprehensible. I mean, just downright disgusting. Now, I'm not going to go through the laundry list of quotes of what he said, but to kind of give you some lowlights, he railed against the Jewish media. He was disappointed at the outcome of the American Civil War. He spoke about his family's history with the Crusades and considered it to be a calling. He denied the Holocaust took place. He posted about the truth about September 11th, his family's history of slavery, and also defended his brand of racial humor. And I mean, it was not, this wasn't just, he posted something on Facebook one day. No, he was going hog wild with multiple public statements about this stuff. So, of course, the announcement got made that Goodman Games is going to have another volume of the original adventures reincarnated, and that it was going to tackle the city-states of the Invincible Overlord, which many people feel is a real classic, one of the best of the Judges Guild releases. I got to be honest, I don't remember if I've seen it. Don't know. Freddie P says he's obviously very grounded. Jack Hank says he and Kanye would get along well. I don't know. He might he might not hang around with Kanye. Sarah D says he sounds like he'd be a lot of fun at parties. Mark Hawkswell is with us, says that's impressive. He sounds like a parody of a whack job. Okay, so 245 Trioxin's mentioning something that I am going to get into here as well. So anyway, so the announcement is made about the Kickstarter, and there was pushback. There was some pushback from the public about it. And you have to understand, back in 2010, Judges Guild did a crowdfunding project on Kickstarter to fund a new edition of City States of the Invincible Overlord and never fulfilled it. So it's never been fulfilled. And I guess the last time any sort of updates were made to that Kickstarter was 2020. Yeah, what do I? So, I got to say, I can understand why people were pushing back, because in the announcement video with Joseph Goodman, he talked, he kind of alluded to the controversy around Bob Bledsoe II or Jr., either one. And he said, here's the quote: "We intend to publish this the Goodman Games way, the way we've done it for 24 years and the way we will hopefully do it for many years to come. And my personal opinion is I like to build bridges rather than walls. I think there have been a lot of experiences in the past couple of years in America of people building walls amongst each other. I'd rather encourage dialogue, encourage conversation, get people talking, and have people converge on what I hope is a unified perspective for how we can all go forward together in a collaborative way." I don't think that statement did Joseph Goodman any good. Because I'll tell you what, I don't want to have a dialogue, a conversation with people who spew bigotry and hatred as Bob Breslaw Jr. has previously. Now, maybe that makes me small and petty. And in that case, I will be small and petty. Because as Gandhi said, I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. It's a quote I absolutely love. So Joe Goodman was getting pushback, and people were saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to support this Kickstarter. Overkill Joe once says, Goodman's not a good man. He's two-faced. Dracula says, Joe Goodman is legit. Anyway, if I read too much of chat, I'll lose my train of thought here. Joe Goodman got pushback from people saying that they weren't going to support the Kickstarter. And it is, to my knowledge, true that the previous Kickstarters for Original Adventures Reincarnated that tackled Judges Guild, and then those two really big collections of Janelle Jacquet's work for Judges Guild. I mean, they're like huge. They're like massive books. Look really cool. Almost bought them one time when I was at Gen Con. And I was like, oh, I can't justify $200. What am I, nuts? But it's my understanding that Judges Guild did not receive any monies from that. That the funds that would have been given to Judges Guild were actually donated to charity. That is not what has been indicated for this upcoming Kickstarter. So Joe Goodman then releases a new statement and talks about how he had already posted in 2020 that what Bob Breslaw said back then was vile, and how personally and professionally upset Joe Goodman was by those events. So the City State of the Invincible Overlord was an outstanding project that dates back before 2020, when Goodman Games cut ties with Judges Guild. Also in a roundabout way, and Joe Goodman hasn't come out and said this, but it almost seems like Goodman Games is contractually obligated to continue forward with the City State of the Invincible Overlord and some other like wilderness campaign. Can't remember the name of it. Is it the West Marches that Judges Guild is famous for? So Judges Guild has promised Goodman Games that all proceeds from their share of the project's revenue is going to go towards refunding backers from the older, unfulfilled Kickstarter. Backers of that Kickstarter are going to get a discount on this new Kickstarter. And that's effectively what Joe Goodman had stated. So what got me going on this topic is actually a video. I am not going to mention the outlet because I don't want to throw them any more traffic than they already have. But I will say that it is a content creator whose name of their channel is very misleading. So their video was all about how Joe Goodman caved to the woke mob again. And the woke mob is never satisfied. It's never enough. So the first question I would have is, if you don't want to help someone who is anti-Semitic, who is racist, who is obviously an Islamophobe, they are very anti-gay, anti-trans. So if you don't want that person, also denies the Holocaust took place, wants to give you the truth about September 11th, inside job, baby, that nonsense. So if you don't want that person to profit, you're not going to back a Kickstarter that's going to put money in their pocket, because there's no guarantee that Bob Breeslaw the second gets that money and then refunds the backers of that Kickstarter that has been floating out there since 2010. They've said they're going to do that. So, and my understanding is Judges Guild has said they are going to give whatever comes in to them back to the original backers. Now, of course, those original backers aren't going to get their full pledge back. We know that's not going to happen. But who's to say that this ass clown doesn't just say, okay, well, thanks. Because it's sort of made out that once Goodman Games does this, and I guess the other Wilderness campaign, they are done with Judges Guild. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But who's to stop the folks at Judges Guild from just saying, okay, well, all right, we've got that money. Yeah, we'll pay those people back, and then they don't. So Death's Angel Shadow is with us. It says, what about, actually, I think Doom Colonist also mentioned this. What about an escrow account? That is not something I've heard mentioned. The way I read the statement was that the funds are going to be given to Judges Guild. They're going to get their cut. And that Judges Guild says they're going to give that money. Their agreement is they're going to give that money. I don't know. I do not know. All right. So does that make you woke? If you're like, man, I'm not going to support that. That's kind of how this video about, how Joseph Goodman caved to the woke mob comes across. So let's address the woke mob, because it doesn't exist. And for one, whenever anybody mentions woke, that to me is just a sign of their ignorance. It's a sign of that person's ignorance. Because if you have an issue with something, if something is being presented and you don't like it, come out and say what it is you don't like about it. But the problem is, a lot of these people who tossed the word woke around, or woke mob, woke army, they don't want to come out and say what it is that really bothers them, because they know that's publicly frowned on, what they don't like. So what they do is they just sit there and toss out, this is woke. Dungeons and Dragons is all woke now. Pathfinder's all woke now. Chaosium Inc. is woke. Get ready for this. Trollord Games is woke. Really? Trollord Games is woke? I don't know. I do not know. Raven says it's not a sign of their ignorance, it's their dishonesty. They are hate merchants. Yeah, very good. Very good. Freelander says, I woke up this morning, Jeff. That's okay. That's all right. So this whole woke mob thing, I also see people complain all the time that, the woke mob has ruined Dungeons and Dragons. The woke mob has ruined Pathfinder. I'll give you a great example. So I see that a lot where Pathfinder's too woke now because the official line from Paizo Inc. is that they are not going to devote any storylines or anything like that to slavery in the world of Golarion. Now, they've never said, oh, slavery doesn't exist, because there are some nations in Golarion, which in first edition Pathfinder, that's how they built their power and they stay in power. But for the most part, it seems like Paizo Inc. is just going to ignore those areas and just not set adventures in them. At no point in time is anyone saying that if you want slavery as a topic or a subject that takes center stage in your Pathfinder games, no one's stopping you from doing that. No one's stopping you from doing anything at your game table. Just like I always get a kick out of this, and this was mentioned a little bit earlier in chat, where you've got people out there who are like, oh, this game is woke. Oh, they've ruined this game. And it comes from people who don't play the game. They don't buy the game. They've got absolutely no interest in the game. It's like, I know there are folks out there who are saying, well, the reason why Dungeons and Dragons 5.5, 2024, has not sold as well as was expected is because it's too woke. Now, that might be the case with some people. There might be some folks out there that are like, yeah, you know what? The hot cross buns baking dwarves is a bridge too far for me. That's a possibility. But I think the reality is that those out there who already have all of their 5e just weren't willing to shell out to suddenly have to purchase all new core books when all along Wizards of the Coast claimed this isn't a new edition, everybody. We're just cleaning some things up. So a lot of folks out there thought, well, it's not a new edition. I have all this 5e stuff. This is what we play. This is what I run. It's like, I'm not buying that then. So I think in some ways, the way Wizards of the Coast, let's say, misrepresented Dungeons and Dragons 2024, shot themselves in the foot. I really do think so. All right, let's jump back and see if I can make out some of the chat with these shitty new contacts. Let's see. Dice Tales is with us. Says, from what Goodman Games said about the escrow arrangement, Judges Guild will only make money if they oversell to the point where a royalties exceeds a certain amount that the backers are due. Okay, so like I said, I was not aware of the escrow, so that's cool. Let's see. Cassiopeia Nebula says most people who scream woke don't know what the word actually means. Yeah, I say that. I talk about that all the time. It's like, okay. So Keith says, I like being woke. It's much nicer than being an ignorant fool. Let's see. My God, I can't make that out. Better woke than a joke. Well, you see all this stuff where it's like, go woke, go broke. Dicel says they would respectfully disagree. You do see waves of people on the left often attack as a group certain things that show up in RPG forums or in videos. There's a lot of yelling on both sides. Right, but my point is the woke mob is not ruining, they're not destroying your favorite role-playing game. Because the games that are catering to people of that political bend, plus, once again, you got to keep in mind, everybody has a right to their own beliefs. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, we got to bust out some thought police. It's when that sort of bigotry, willful ignorance, hatred boils over into public. Then I've got a beef. I've got a problem. But once again, if you want to sit in the privacy of your own home and stew and just be all full of piss and vinegar, that is completely up to you. Just don't bring it my way. But yes, as far as the woke mob destroying somebody's favorite role-playing game, the people who complain about this, they don't play it. They don't buy it, which is what I don't get. Something else that I noticed too is the people who want to throw out and complain about, oh, I want to keep politics out of my hobby, out of my gaming. The great majority of them, what they really mean is they want to keep your politics out of their gaming and keep their politics right there front and center. So let's not beat around the bush as far as that goes. Because the people I see who always talk about, oh, I don't want to bring politics into the mix, always bring politics into the mix. Chris Lundgren's with us in chat. Says they're done with politics in their games. Well, we're not talking about politics in a game. We're talking about people claiming that their favorite games are being ruined. No one's ruining Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, they're not. People aren't ruining BX. People aren't ruining OD&D. They're just not. So I just kind of laugh at people who sit there, I'm not buying Dungeons and Dragons 2024 because it's woke. And that's like, yeah, that's okay. You didn't buy 5th edition. You didn't buy 4th edition either. So it's not like anybody's losing sleep. So Relighter Gamer says, my ice cream was ruined by the sun, Jeff. That woke sun. So, like I've said before, I'm not here to tell you have to have people that you don't want at your table, sitting at your table. I don't tell you that kind of stuff. But it's kind of like, let's get real here. And, it's almost when people talk about like the woke mob and, the terrible effect on their hobby it's having. It's not having really any effect. It's just some individuals out there getting butthurt that their way of thinking is just being left behind in the dust, and they're not willing to adjust their thinking to a more modern sensibility. Ty Brute is with us. And so is Robert Reynolds. Says, I have to say that being a game has changed their political beliefs. They've changed their life through being a gamer. Yeah, I could see that. Sure. A lot of times for most people, the first time that they really sat down and kind of got to know people who were other races, other sexual orientations, other religions, a lot of times that came from sitting around a game table, going to game days, going to conventions, things like that, or gaming at your local game store and just, playing with strangers who just, they're not cut from the same cloth as you are. Let's see. Overkill Joe One says, as long as you've got the old books, you're okay, right? Modern reprints come with a content advisory now. So just think about that. And yeah, I'll be the first to say that I think sometimes people overreact to certain things. But I also believe that it's well within their right to overreact to certain things. So I don't sit there and go, oh, whoa, I can't believe you're. No, because they've lived a completely different life than I have. They have completely different experiences than I have. So something that I might see in a game release, I might be like, ooh, oh, that's gross or something like that. But it doesn't strike me as, oh, man, that's got to, oh, shit, I can't believe they included that in here, which other people might encounter because of their experiences. So I'm not going to, jump all over them. I don't know. Let's see. Chris Lenward asks, Jeff, did you see my post on the new Osric is finally going forward on back? Chris, why are you? Yeah, Chris Lundgren once again, ladies and gentlemen, derailing the topic. Let's see. Agile Monk says the best game is the one you and your friends play and have a blast together doing. Yeah, actually, I think that's kind of Agile Monk's tagline over on our Discord server. So, Chris Lundgren says it won't be woke or not woke. As far as Osric, Matt Finch, I honestly don't recall anything that was questionable either way from the Swords and Wizardry I reviewed. So Doom Colonist says that point about acknowledging other people's experience is really important. Half the outrage you see stems from a place of privileged ignorance. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Agile Monk says, yes, it is. Woke or not woke? I don't know where we're going with that. I mean, it's Osric, for crying out loud. Me personally, I don't think throwing a disclaimer out there is that big a deal. And I know one of the reasons why Chaosium Inc. got called on the carpet by some of the cranks out there was because, oh, there we go. Agile Monk says, yeah, that's their tagline. I was going to say, I thought I saw that. Real Lighter Gamer says, in the words of decades past, can't we all just get along? No, we can't. I can't get along with Nazis. I just can't. I refuse to. I refuse to get along with people who spout hatred or bigotry. No, I can't get along with them. And now once again, that makes me a petty human being, then I will be a petty human being. I'm not saying that people can't change their opinions on things. People can see the light. People can, find knowledge. Just like we talk about how could somebody have not seen this or not seen that politically? It's like, well, where do they get their news? If you're only getting your information from a source that has a particular spin that they're going to use, and that's all you're going to ever get. And you're not going to get anything that conflicts with that. So when people start waking up and going, oh, well, maybe I'll check out multiple news sources. And a lot of times their eyes get opened. Cthulhu says, I'm with you, Jeff. I won't get along with people who oppose human rights. Yes, exactly. And I'm also the sort of person, I cannot allow someone's religious beliefs to infringe upon the rights of others. It is well within your right to believe whatever you want to believe, but it is not someone's right to try to force other people to abide by those religious beliefs. And I know folks out there like to talk about how, oh, well, you know what? The United States, it's a Christian nation. It was formed as a Christian nation. Do a little research about the founding fathers, and you will find out that most of them were deists who didn't go to church. They weren't exactly, Bible thumpers by any stretch of the imagination. So, okay, let's see. Chris Lundgren says they get their news from outside the U.S. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Funny enough, I actually sometimes watch the news out of Ireland. I mean, it's, when I feel like a change of pace, I'll watch that. And it's kind of funny to see the stuff that makes the news over there. I mean, I don't mean international news. I mean, like the local stuff. Relighter Gamer says our news has gone way down over the years. Yeah, it really has. It really has. It used to be the news shared the news. It was like, okay, here are the facts. This is what's going on. I can't believe the stuff they used to show on the news. It's like, so, okay, this is changing the subject a little bit. But I remember being pretty young. I don't think I was in high school yet. And if you're of a certain age, you'll remember the Wallenda family. They were acrobats. They were like tightrope walkers. And they did some like insane stunts. And many in the family died doing stunts. And I remember, I think it was in Mexico City. The oldest, I think if I remember right, his name was Carl Wallenda, was doing a walk between two buildings. And all of a sudden you could see he was losing, his balance. And he falls, and the camera followed him to the ground. And it wasn't too long ago, because we were talking about the Mandela effect. And it was one of those things where it's like, did I remember seeing that right? Did I really see that? Or do I just think I saw that? And I went online and I looked it up. And sure enough, they had the bit from the nightly news, the national news. I forget what network it was. And sure enough, it was exactly how I remembered it. And I thought to myself, just think of nowadays when you're watching the news, if you watch the news, and they say, oh, the following might be disturbing, and you watch it and you're like, I didn't see anything happen. I don't understand. What am I supposed to be disturbed about? I saw it was a police stop and that was it. But yeah, kind of wild. Kind of weird. Okay. John Muscola is with us. Good to see you, John. I think a few people popped on in. Dave S. is with us. Jordan Chris is popping on in, says, man, what hornet's nest did I walk into? Not really a hornet's nest by any stretch. Like, once again, I'm not telling people how to think. Not at all. You have your beliefs. That's fine. I have my beliefs too. That's fine. I'm sure, there's some things I believe in that I might not be on the right side of. But the thing is, you can't police modern sensibilities. So if people out there who are buying role-playing games, board games, whatever, want to see representation in their games, which I completely agree with, you can't sit there and say, oh, well, those people are ruining my game. Because it's not your game. It's the publisher's game. And if they want to make adjustments, they want to include things into their game in order to hopefully sell more copies, which that's usually the case when they're doing stuff, that's their prerogative to do so. So, all right. Let's see. Chris Langer says, not all Christians are assholes. No, I don't believe that. I wouldn't say that. So, is that VS? Damn you, new contacts. Oh, I just bought like $120 worth of these things. Although sometimes your eyes have to kind of get used to new contacts a little bit as well. So they said they saw the Tales of Argosa video and really enjoyed it. Cool, thank you. But no, I'm not knocking anybody for their religion either. That falls under the whole category of you have every right to believe what you believe. You do not have the right to trample on other people's rights because of your religious or political or any of your beliefs. So, all right. So the reveal is there is no woke mob. There is absolutely no woke mob out there who is ruining anybody's favorite role-playing game. A, because the woke mob doesn't exist. It's people who just don't have the same viewpoints as others might have. And they're looking for games that reflect their viewpoint, their belief system. And maybe that conflicts with other people's. But it's not a woke mob. And they are not destroying people's favorite role-playing games, the ones who cry about it all the time, because the games that these people are having impact on aren't being bought by the people who cry about the woke mob. That's the reality there, too. All right. So let's see. TJ is with us. So the only thing that ruined my tabletop role-playing game are the corporate shareholders that drive anything. Yeah, there you go. I'm agreeing with you on that. That drive everything into a gorging frenzy of increasing profits. Or they just beat what makes something original to death because they think they can make a few more ducats out of it. That I don't understand. So it's like, you don't have to make something that everyone is going to buy in order for something to be a success. And there are many times, and this is something that we see especially with the movie industry for decades. If you're just trying to make something that's going to appeal to the biggest mass, really all you end up is with a lot of people very disappointed. So a reference to Wizards of the Coast hiring the Pinkertons. Yes. All right. So there you go. That is tonight's topic. Once again, I really don't have an issue with the statement that Joe Goodman made. I wasn't aware of the escrow account. So there is that. So that's cool to know that. But, I understand why people would be saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to support this Kickstarter because I don't want the people who are now in control of Judges Guild to get anything, because I find Bob Bledsaw Jr. reprehensible, or at least the things he said publicly 5 years ago to be reprehensible. I understand that. That doesn't make anybody woke. That means they just don't have a tolerance for that kind of shit. So, but to indicate that Joseph Goodman caved to the woke crowd is bullshit. I mean, it's clickbait in the first place, and the content creator knows that. But there you go. So that is, so I just wanted to mention that because I don't want people to think, oh, well, Jeff's got something against Goodman Games now. No, I don't. Do I think that this is a smart play? No, not really. But then again, it is possible. They're under a contractual obligation to do this. I don't know. But it sort of in a roundabout way kind of seemed like that. All right. But yeah, I'm still cool with Goodman Games. There's no issues with them. Pete Strakowitz says, DCC rock on. Nice. Is it Clantos? I think it is. Weird thing is, I was looking to see how I could maybe increase the size of the font on the chat, and I'm sure I can, but I couldn't find it in time before the show started. So they said, here in Michigan during the 80s and 90s, a lot of Christians thought you were a Satan worshiper if you played tabletop role-playing games. Well, it wasn't just Michigan. Thankfully, I never encountered that. I never ran into, my dad is a devout Catholic, and he never really said anything. I don't think we made it like a big deal, though. That, oh, hey, I'm going to Elliot's, so we're going to play Call of Cthulhu. I'm going to run Call of Cthulhu. It was just, yeah, we're going over to play games. And that was it. That was about it. So, all righty. William Hell as Ice is with us as well. So that is it for this time out. Tomorrow night, I think we're just going to tackle the news. Reason behind that is I have to go take my mom to a doctor's appointment, and I will probably be getting home moments before the stream has to start. So we will probably just do news and then kind of open chat for the most part. If people want to throw some stuff out, then that is fine. Shazama85 says, I say just buy Goodman Games or Judges Guild or whichever you want. The naysayers can buy what they want. Yeah. And a lot of times people vote with their wallet. That's how you do it. So there you go. All right. Thank you, Raven. I will do my best. Oh, and then of course tomorrow I will also talk about the two gaming companies I'm not going to be sharing news about anymore. But that's not going to be like a big topic. That's not going to be like the title of the episode. All right, everybody. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watch live and took part in chat, even bigger thank you, because not only were you keeping me company, also keeping each other company while I'm going through the news or kind of talking about the topic and so forth. Do apologize if you were in chat and you were trying to get something out there for me to see. A lot of times when I do a topic, it's really kind of difficult to kind of stick with chat. But regardless, if you're watching live, took part in chat, thank you. And of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,200 videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I stream the Dispatch live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube. Also let you know when I share other videos, such as my review of Monty Python's co-curricular medieval reenactment program from Crowbar Creative and Exalted Funeral. If you haven't checked out the review, by all means, take a peek. I also just shared my review of the Game Master's Handbook for Pendragon. So give that a peek if you are curious. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you'd like to support the Gaming Gang, we do have a Patreon, and that link is in the show notes. And be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. There's an invite to our Discord server also in the show notes. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.